Hey there, I have another comic book unboxing and order analysis video, and this order was placed with a seller that I have not purchased comics from before. Aren't you curious to see what condition these books are in and what I got? I know I am. Let's get to it. Alright, so this flurry of comic book orders that I placed at the tail end of 2021, the orders are finally starting to come in. I'm going through them as you've seen, and I wanted to purchase from some different sellers just so I could start to get some new information and some new data into my store ordering analysis and try and figure out, which sellers are sending me better quality books and so on. This is an order that I placed from CapCoComics. I found them through Atomic Avenue. And this is a pretty nice order. It's 22 books. I'm going to go through the unboxing. I'll show you the books inside. And we'll see what I got. And then I'll go through the analysis of the order just to see if it was worth my time and money. You can kind of take a look and see in terms of the fair market value, why I was targeting certain books. And these are all great books that I love to buy. Those Bronze, Copper, Age, Marvel, maybe even a DC comic slipped in this order. Maybe a couple, we'll see. So let me go ahead and get to the unboxing. Alrighty, so as I mentioned, this is from CapCoComics from Colorado. This order was sent priority mail. Now, the difference with this order as opposed to other orders that I placed with Atomic Avenue, Mile High Comics, Midtown, other places, I will often kind of save up what I'm going to purchase until it's a substantial amount so I get free shipping. This seller, no matter, they had a minimum order requirement, but there was no minimum for free shipping. So no matter how much I ordered, at some point I had to pay for shipping. And so that had to factor in to my decision making as far as what books I wanted to buy. Let me go ahead and get this open and we'll start going through the books. Alright, so here is what the books look like inside the box. So we got some bubble wrap, some padded like air bubble, additional padding there, so lots of really great bubble wrap in here. Let me go ahead and get this out of the medium priority mailer. Oh, look at that, got a nice tide now with 40% more loads. You can do 158 loads a tide with these comics, so that's cool. Hopefully there's no laundry detergent all over the books. But that's awesome right there. Yeah, whew, look at that. So I could probably tell people who think I buy too many comic books, buying detergent instead. I might do that. I might save that and kind of put it on the outside of my comic bins and just say, I don't have a problem. This is just, I'm just doing my laundry. I'm going to get right in here, cut through with these scissors. Okay, and let's see here. He left a note, and it does have my order number on it. So I just want to cover up the order number just because I want to. So let's see what the message says. It may seem odd that I package your comics in cardboard from laundry detergent boxes, but it is very strong cardboard, and your books arrive smelling clean and fresh. Isn't that awesome? That's great. I love that. Very cool. I love when sellers put something a little bit personal in there. It definitely, again, part of this is building relationships too. So this is the first, as you look at these Tide boxes, this is the first time I've ordered from CapCoComics, and I'm going to be very careful as I cut through that. It's very heavily taped, so I'm going to try not to jam the scissors in. This is why I show you the complete unboxing, because these are the kind of things that you have to deal with when you order online. You have to be very careful. It's just like if you're taking a blade and cutting through long ways, and then you open up and whatever was inside also has that cut right through it. So let me get through this, and then we'll talk about the books. This one's still giving me some trouble trying to get in here. It's just there's so much tape. And I'm in. And this is only roughly half the books. So this was affixed to the Tide cardboard. And then the books are all taped together. So I'm going to try and peel off the tape here as best I can and do it quickly. So yeah, I'm super curious to get into this order because, like I said, I paid for shipping. So the seller obviously, I think when a seller is going to charge you for shipping no matter what, or at least this is my theory, and this is, why is it my theory? Because this is how I think as a seller. If you're going to charge for shipping and you're going to charge the full amount, then you're going to take pride in how you ship. You're not going to ship media mail, obviously, and you're not going to try and make money off of shipping necessarily, or hopefully you're not going to. But you could see that he really, you could tell from the note too that shipping is important. So I'm finally into the books, and I'm going to replace these bags and boards anyway. So I was kind of like taking the tape and putting it back here. So that was on me. So let's go through the books. This is a pretty hefty order, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on each one. I'm just going to show you what I got, and we'll see how it goes. So this first book, Wolverine number 48. I got this. This was bumping up a little bit on cover price, and that is one way that I speculate. I don't necessarily study YouTube channels and other social media pushes for books anymore, because I let the data tell me what to look for. And what you'll find is if somebody appears on a YouTube channel and starts talking about a book, people will run to eBay, buy up a bunch of copies, and then those sales are tracked through different sources, and you can see them. Now, you could say, well, aren't they getting those books for $1 or $2? Yeah, possibly, but you need them to buy those in order for the value to increase. So if, again, I'm a big believer in the weapons program being in the MCU. There's pretty strong rumors about possibly the origin of Wolverine. You're running through the weapons program as a Disney Plus show. And if you saw, I just got X-Men 109, Weapon Alpha, which is ends up being Vindicator. A lot of different great weapon-related characters, Deadpool. So anything kind of tied in with Weapon X, I'm getting after. So again, these are all near mint books that were purchased. And what I'm trying to figure out is, do sellers really classify their books as near mint, or is it sort of a catch-all? And again, grading, screening, cataloging, tracking data is the only way to go. All right, so there's my rant, and let's get to more comics. Web of Spider-Man number 7. I got this out of a Boxed Heroes mystery box not too long ago. What a funky cover with Hulk here. That really, if you picture it like sitting on the stands, whether it's a newsstand or at LCS, you can't stop but take a look at this book. The copy I got looks to be in a 9.8, the one from Boxed Heroes. This one looks pretty good too. Has a bit of a miswrap, but at least it's straight. But just a really great classical early Web of Spider-Man. So if you're into collecting Web of Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man alongside Amazing, which I am, then those books are great to have. Here's Thor 347. I'm trying to get a high grade complete Simonson Thor run, and for whatever reason, I just can't seem to get these in high grade from Mile High, so I buy these occasionally from Atomic Avenue sellers as well. We've got Malekith right there on the cover. Again, Simonson, just enough said, awesome. Next one is Avengers 273. This one with the Black Knight on the cover. This is another cover that I traced as a kid. So my other copy has these pencil impressions all around the cover. I don't believe I traced the 25th anniversary border. I just traced the Black Knight cover. A lot of shading with that after the tracing was done. So I wanted to get a clean copy here. This one too was picking up a little bit of steam on cover price. So I was watching that value increase, watching some sales come in, and Black Knight Avengers MCU spec, there it is. Now some of these, it looks like he put a couple of issues inside one thicker bag. So I'm going to flip this over, and here we have Avengers 230, a really, really tough book in that darker background, that darker cover. Al Milgrom on the cover art here, 1982. I'm just giving it a quick once over. Definitely some spine ticks there, but nothing too outrageous. Doesn't look to be too bad. So very cool. And the Yellow Jacket costume there with Cap, Hawkeye, and Thor looking down on it. Yellow Jacket, no more. All right, like I said, maybe a couple DC books slipped in here. That's okay. This is Batman 407. The bag is pretty torn up, so the comic itself we'll have to see once I open it up. But these Frank Miller Batman Year One comics, I like to grab these when I can. I had this in an old label that I sold not too long ago and wanted to sort of upgrade that. This was a very affordable copy that I picked up from CapCoComics. A couple of Captain America books, so got some Cap books from CapCo. This is Cap 267, introducing the threat of Everyman. And there he is in that swashbuckling outfit. Statue of Liberty behind the two of them. Probably not a near mint copy, or near mint at most. There's some color breaking spine ticks up and down here. I feel like at this point Captain America itself, like these bronze and copper, may possibly even silver, but the bronze, copper, those, I think Captain America books have really cooled off, even the ones with the Falcon. So now is the time for me to kind of go back and start to fill out some runs of Cap. And love to grab these like late 70s, early 80s Captain America books. Most of them aren't even keys, so you can get them for a really, really good price. Here's a fun one, Cap Wolf. I don't know if they're ever going to do anything with this, but this image seems to kind of show up from time to time when you're doing like a bunch of Captain America versions. Is this going to be an alternate reality Captain America? We don't know, but I wanted to grab it while nobody was really thinking about it. Just kind of looking at it again, all these books are kind of suffering from the same thing. Just a small handful of hairline but color breaking spine ticks. Hard to see, but there's one right here and just a couple in here. Again, if I took them out of the bag, you'd see them a little bit better. But this is the Cap Wolf, Man and Wolf Part 4 of 6. And this is from 1992. All right, I'm going to show this Fantastic Four one first because the most expensive book in the order is right here. This is Fantastic Four, number 250, guest starring, in quotes, X Factor. Here's the X-Men right here. Spider-Man. I believe this is Gladiator. So yeah, we've got a lot of different cameos and guest appearances here in this book. It's one of those that is a double-sized anniversary issue, which I think flies under the radar in terms of price and value. Everything sort of normalizes over time. It's something that I think about when you're talking about incentives. Even if you go back 5 years, 3 years, if there was a 1 in 25 book, if you look at those, unless it's a very, very specific book, like Ultimate Fallout, right? First appearance of Miles. So unless it's a very, very specific book, a lot of times the incentives, they'll just sort of fall back in terms of price and value, especially if they're slabbed. Like, it seems like nobody really cares if it's a 1 in 25. They're not willing to pay a premium for that over time. I think brand new moderns, like the timeless variant that I keep talking about, that one they call it a ghost and everything. They try and hype it. But for the most part, I think that these double size, these books that cost extra money, they sort of fall in line with the rest of the books. I didn't pay any more or less for this book because it's double sized. All right, so here was a book that I've been looking to add to my collection, and this is Detective Comics 583. Again, at a quick first glance, I'm seeing a number of issues in the spine, so it's not a 9.8 candidate, but it was a book that I wanted to have in high grade in my collection. What a great Mike Mignola cover, and very kind of a sneaky, great cover of this era. Most people know about it, but I really only knew Mignola from Hellboy. And so when I started to find out that, as I got older and more into comics and realized that these artists that have branched out into independent places like Dark Horse and Image, I was so fixated on Spider-Man and X-Men and things, I didn't realize that they were actually coming from DC and some other places. So seeing Mignola here, with that famous McFarlane Batman cover, things like that, those are really great, I think, to add to your personal collection. I love the perspective on this, the shadows, everything, just great. Mignola's just a fantastic artist. And so he'll sneak up and do some covers from time to time, and they're just great ads. Would definitely put this on my wall if this was a 9.8. It's not, and I can tell there's a number of spine ticks. There's even a crease right in here. So it could be like in the 9.92 range, but I wanted to secure a high-grade copy as I didn't have one. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of a break here while I get the second brick unboxed, and I'll put these aside. So bear with me as I get this one open. All right, well, he was right. That is some thick cardboard. Cool. Has a business card, so that's cool. So I can, and that's what I like about that sort of thing. I know that you can get contacts on Instagram and Twitter and other places, but I don't know, other than the number of followers or whatever, how much they value their reputation or how they assess value, or I honestly don't know. It could just be me showing my age too, where I just don't understand it. And I have purchased from Instagram sellers. I've purchased from people selling on Twitter. I've done it all, or almost all of it, I should say. And I don't know. There's just something about buying from social media that's such a turnoff to me, because I've just seen people disappear and they're just gone. And then what do you do? There's no way to contact them because everything's direct messages. So if anyone were to get banned from any platform, there's just no way to communicate with them. unless you've asked for their personal cell phone number or something. And I don't know. It's very tricky. I'm sure the same could be said with any Shopify store or anything like that, but it's just what I'm choosing to do. Okay, let's get through these books. I'm just trying to get this extra tape off my hands. All right. More comics, less talking. She-Hulk #7. This is an amazing cover. And look at the dark colors, the dark purple and the black around this. Again, all the books look to be about the same in terms of quality and condition. There's a spine tick there, multiple little tiny spine ticks up and down the spine. But I don't have this one at all, and really, really like it. That's like a price tag. I'll be able to get that off once I get it out of the bag and board. And I'm going to really enjoy rebagging and boarding these. I don't know about you, but I still, it's so therapeutic to still go through that process of putting these books, it's someone else's books, and now they're yours, and putting them in your own bag and board. I love it. Moon Knight #16. This one, same thing. I'm not going to keep harping on the condition, but just kind of showing you what a near mint book from this seller looks like. I cannot stop myself from buying the first Moon Knight series single issues, no matter what the issue number is. If it's a good price, I don't care if it's a key or not, I just keep buying them. Same goes for X-Men. Here we go. Uncanny X-Men 153. This one looks pretty good. Oh, I see. It's, oh, that was the bag. Yeah, I may have to take this one out and look at it. I'm going to set it aside. That might be a 9.8 candidate there. Uncanny X-Men 152. I got this from Mile High Comics not too long ago, and I believe it was a straight 9.8. And I think that one has this one beat. It's basically just a couple of ladies fight in their underwear on the cover. No, that's Storm. But anyway, X-Men 152. Just grabbing as many X-Men and Fantastic Four books as I can. Another Moon Knight book, Moon Knight 5. Just trying to... I think I have almost all of the Moon Knight of the first series. Series goes into the 30s, I believe. And I have all of them except for issue 1. So that's the one that keeps rising in value, of course. These are stabilizing a little. But great Sienkiewicz cover. These Sienkiewicz Moon Knights are fantastic, and if you can pull out a 9.8 in any of these, which this one may be a 9.8, so I might put that one aside too. That looks really good. Marvel Premiere 53. I am starting to grab these Marvel Premieres. There's a lot of value in the books that are titled or prefixed with Marvel. So Marvel Premiere, Marvel 2-in-1, Marvel Team Up, even Marvel Tales. I'm so surprised. Those are just Spider-Man reprint books, but even Marvel Tales is picking up value. I think I threw out a lot of those Marvel Tales books. I never thought that those would have value, but a lot of the earlier Marvel Tales books are also picking up some value here. So the Rage of the Soul Strangler, not the most uplifting cover, but I wanted to pick up a issue I was missing of the Marvel Premiere series run, and got a good deal on this one. I did see some spine ticks on that one, so I'll put it in the other pile. Longshot #2. Arthur Adams did this 6-issue limited series with Longshot. If we believe Longshot's coming with the Mojoverse, I really honestly think it would be animated if they did. But I don't have any Longshot comic books. And so I've added the 6 issues to my tracking to be on the lookout for these. And Longshot 2 popped under CapCoComics as a good buy. Fantastic Four 348. I've got a couple of these. This is suffering from some dirt around here. If you watch my last unboxing video, I actually stopped in the middle of it to clean a book. Kind of weird, but just felt like doing it, and may do a future video on some of my cleaning techniques. And really, when I say techniques, I mean like grabbing an eraser. So I may have to get to work on that FF348. Here's Iron Man 169. I'm grabbing a lot of these too. Anything having to do with Rhodey and taking up the mantle of Iron Man. Also, as an Iron Man fan, I'm buying really any issue if it's a good deal. I got a couple of these. This is Iron Man 161 on both sides of the coin here. He actually had a newsstand and a direct, and I grabbed both. Again, a sucker for Moon Knight, so I'm anxious to open these and take a look. Of all the Iron Man books I had, I don't believe I had 161, and now I have two. And not that this is a big speculation of a Moon Knight and Iron Man team up in their future, but anything Moon Knight I am grabbing. And then lastly, another Iron Man book here, 165. Great cover, great value here, and hoping that some of these are close to a 9.8. This one looks really good. So this one might be another 9.8 candidate, but something, again, for my Iron Man collection. All right, so a couple of these I wanted to open up and just take a look and see kind of what we were dealing with here in terms of condition. So this is Moon Knight number 5. And let's look at this one a little bit more closely. So in the bag, this is why you have to unbag it, right? In the bag, this looked really clean, but as we move it in and out of the light, it definitely has a little bit of spine tick damage here. Very, very subtle, but it's actually making tiny little dents. I'm counting about 5 up and down the spine here. Let me try and angle the light so you can see. Right here by my thumb is a couple. There's one right here, one up here, a couple up here. Corners look pretty good. I would say that's a very acceptable. This one is also acceptable. Very sharp. This one's more than acceptable. That looks great. Trying to see anything. It looks very, very smooth. There's no dents or anything on the front. Again, this would be an opportunity to clean right there before it's pressed. That's probably just some dirt that can be cleaned up pretty easily, as is down here. And you don't want to be dinged. Like, I would hate for this book to be a 9.8 but come back a 9.6 because of the spine ticks and the dirt. At least get rid of the dirt and make the grader really, really question whether or not he wants to downgrade you. And it's so simple and easy to do, to just take a nice eraser and clean up the border. So this one's probably, if I can clean it up, I'm probably giving it a 9.6, but it's a pressing candidate. I would probably want to run it through the press just to see if I could smooth out the spine. It would also be an opportunity to take the tack iron and just kind of work on the spine by itself, only because there really isn't any other damage anywhere else in the book that I would see, that at least I can see there. So that one is probably either a 9.4, probably a 9.4 as is, 9.6 if I can get the dirt off, and 9.8 if those spine ticks press out. Let's look at one more, and then I'll show you the order analysis. So this is X-Men 153, and we're looking at the spine here. Character box looks really, really nice. I see one. It's not even going to show up on camera. It's so tiny, little spine tick there. It's not color breaking. Same right there by my thumb. Just a very, very subtle hairline tick right there. It's barely color breaking. Corners look great. These edges look great. Nothing really up and down the book here. And the back looks really, really clean. No spine tick or spine damage whatsoever. So if you're thinking what I'm thinking, this is a 9.8. I might still take the eraser and just clean up a little bit, but it's almost unnecessary. And it's a 9.8. I wouldn't even press this book. So that's awesome to already get a 9.8 from this seller. This is a fantastic book. It's such a neat X-Men cover. All things Kitty Pryde for me. I'm all in on Kitty Pryde. Anything with her, I'm grabbing. I'm all about X-Men 166 with Lockheed. There's Lockheed right down there. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for Marvel. I'm not saying Marvel's going to have their Baby Yoda moment with Lockheed, but I think that they can do something special with that. So there's a couple of books I looked at. Again, the Moon Knight 5 and X-Men 153. Just a couple of examples of the books and things that you could expect to receive from this particular seller. I know it's one order, but it's 22 books, so it's a pretty substantial sample size. So let me show you what I paid for these books and why I targeted them. And you can kind of look at the data along with me and determine whether or not I got good deals, right? So we're going to compare the fair market value, what I paid for the books, and then if I were to go through and grade each one, what is that sort of low end 9.92, 9.4 range all the way up to 9.8, so you can kind of see the potential value that I'm trying to add to my collection with this order. So let's take a look. All right, what an awesome set of comics from CapCoComics. I mean, I'm gonna love if there's a lot of 9.4s, 9.6s, and 9.8s in there, but just loved every book I got. So really, really happy that I selected those books specifically. So what I'd like to do now is go through and let's switch over here so you can see the details of the order. And I've already preloaded everything. So I ordered this on December 27th, 2021. Here's the cost of each book. Like I said, it was a 22 book order. So as we move down here to the total, we can see it was a $178.85 order. I did have to pay $18.10 shipping. So what I do is, as I move to the right, I make sure that this column at the bottom here, column Z, the total cost, I make sure that that also equals just the total cost of the books plus the cost to ship. And I factor in that cost to ship per book. So I just take the total shipping, I divide it by the total number of books in the order. In this case, it's 22, and I apply it to each book individually. So if it was a $4 book, $10 book, $12, or $45 book, they all get the same additional amount added. And then I can see, to make sure my math is right, I just sum it down here. Okay, so let's go up and start taking a look at the data and do some comparisons. So the end goal for me is column AB. I want to make sure that if I am going to grade any of these books, that there's some potential value in a slabbed version of this book that I'm adding to my collection. And if I don't want to grade it, that I'm adding some value as a high grade raw book. And so I do this in a couple of different ways. I look at the raw profit, and so that's column AA, and I'm comparing that value to cover price. And I look at the total cost, and I just say, based on the fair market value, was it a positive or negative transaction? And then I summarize all of that to see, did I pay more, less, or right at fair market value for these books? And remember, cover price fair market value is across all grades. So if I'm slightly above or under fair market value, I still feel like, because I'm targeting high grade books, that I'm actually getting a better value than fair market value. It all depends on timing and the buyer. So that's why I just kind of pretend that it's all relative. Because if I put a high grade copy of Moon Knight #5 on eBay, is it really going to sell for $10, or are they going to look at my scans and are they savvy enough to say, you know what, that looks like a 9.4 that can be pressed and cleaned, and maybe it's worth a little bit more than that? I really don't know how savvy buyers are. I am learning how savvy the sellers are by going through this process, but I just take the data that I have and make my own assumptions, and I just assume fair market value is roughly in the same 9.4 range when I'm doing my cost to value comparisons, even though it's not true fair market value of a 9.4. Cover price, really nobody tracks raw books because the grading is relative. So in theory, in general, you want to try and find books that are around FMV. Hopefully you're getting them cheaper. I know everybody says, I don't want to pay fair market value. I want to get all these in dollar bins. More power to you. These are the prices I paid with full transparency. And if we go down to this summary, just from a raw book flipping value perspective, whatever you want to call it, whatever I'm going to do is it has the potential, these books have the potential to be sold at a $25 profit, and that's after I paid that $18 shipping. So that's a great deal. I was worried that if I were to pay that much for shipping, that it would start to really pull down on my margin. And it didn't. It really didn't. Now let's see here if I'm just scanning the values. It looks like, again, Moon Knight #5. That was a total cost of $6.32. It's a $10.80 book according to cover price. So I've just added almost $4.50, just raw book. But again, if this were listed appropriately and talked about as like a 9.6 candidate or whatever you do on eBay, maybe I sell it for 20 and then it's a bigger profit. But nevertheless, just taking the numbers for what they were. Here's a couple other, the two Iron Man 161s here look to be about a $5 gain on each. I'm looking at my bigger losses. So Detective 583 was the biggest loss, negative $16.72. It has an FMV of only $29.10. Again, this one was pushed to me through my spreadsheets in terms of a value buy because of the potential for CGC as a graded copy for the value to be added there. So let's look and see, just to finish these out, go all the way to the top, Avengers. The Batman 407 was also a pretty substantial loss. Cap 267 was a nice fair market value bonus. So really, this is the one that carried it. I bought this for $5.82 total cost, and it has a cover price FMV of $34.44. So carried positively by that book, negatively by the Detective 583. Okay, now let's get the grades in here. I'm probably not going to do these one at a time. I may blast a few here. So let's take the top four. And we see the 60, 31, 39. So as you watch the right column, you can see this is the true value add if you were to grade these books. So if you like grading your books, then this is the portion of the video for you. If you like keeping them all raw, then what we talked about previously with the raw FMV. I think what we're going to find is this order provided a lot of great value, whether you're keeping books raw or grading. But let's go through the grading and see. I'm going to hold off on this 267 here. Let's punch in 405. That's the Cap Wolf book. Again, not much value. It is 9.4, still a loss. I'm going to wait on this one. Let's plug in the two Fantastic Four books. 39 and 53, minor gains from a graded perspective. How about all these Iron Man? Plug all those in. So $37 to $42 range, somewhere between a $3 and $9 profit if I were to get those slabbed. Long shot, $50 for that one. Marvel Premiere 53, $40. So if you were holding those two books up, I would probably say, isn't the Marvel Premiere, because it's from 1980, 5 years earlier than Longshot, maybe it should be worth more. It's not. So good to know. How about the two Moon Knight books? 55 and 37. Again, not a huge profit, but still positive. And let's see how we're doing here. Still negative $202 for this order in total. The She-Hulk book, again, I would think that one in a 9.4 with the fact that it has the darker colors on the cover. only worth $32. Thor 347, even though it's a great classic Simonson run, not a lot of value in 9.4. And then I'll kind of work backwards for these. 9.4 of the Wolverine 42, 9.4 of the Web of Spider-Man 35. And then let's look at the two X-Men books, 152 and 153. Those are about $50 each. So that finally turned this order positive. So $43 if I were to blindly send all of these books off for grading, and they all came back as near mint 9.4. So a nice little bonus there. And I did leave a couple of books off. Let's go back to Cap 267, which appears to have some value. Maybe this value is incorrect on cover price. It's showing a CGC value of only $20 in a 9.4. And then Detective 583 in a 9.4, I figured that one's probably going to be the big one. And that's why this book showed up on my radar. One, because I was tracking it because of the Magnolia cover and the significance there. And then when I saw it was a 9.4 and the average fair market value of a graded 9.4 comic being $90, then the $45 purchase, $45.82 purchase didn't seem to be that much of a risk, right? So that's where it's like, well, if I don't hit the 9.8, can I get my money back? And yes, I would say if that book grades out at a 9.4 and I turn around and sell it and I make $16, it's only $16, but it was no risk. If you got that book back in a 9.8, which you're going to see here in a second, a lot of upside. So that's where my head is at, where I'm thinking, if I'm missing on these, and by missing I mean 9.4. If it's less than 9.4, then it's a total loss, right? But as we go through these orders and as you build relationships with these sellers, the chances of getting really damaged, beat up books are less and less. And if you do have sellers that send you those kind of books, you just stop buying from them. All right, so the last part, let's start turning these into 9.8. Well, let's see the final tally. The final tally of a 9.4 is $153.60 right here. And so that is on the low end what I would expect to get if I were to add that. Like, how much value am I adding on the low end of the spectrum? So now let's turn this 9.8. And we'll start to see some of these books really jump here. All right, let me reset this. So let's start flipping these to 9.8. So $100 for 230 and 300 for 273 of Avengers there. So again, this is why I targeted these books, because of the upside. 407, that Frank Miller Batman. $333 in a 9.8. Now, you saw those spine ticks with me. I'm not speculating that those could be 9.8s. I understand they're not 9.8s, but I'm just showing you, like, when you're blindly buying these as near mint, can you sneak in a 9.8 or can you sneak in a 9.6 with a press and bump it to a 9.8? Yes, I've proven that that's possible. So that's why I do this. Cap 267 in a 9.8. Only 47, so that fair market value on 267 is a little iffy, and I probably have to investigate that a little bit. 405 of Capwolf, 165, that makes sense. I'm going to wait on Detective. Let's do the two Fantastic Four books, 250 and 348. $100 each, very respectable. And how about the Iron Man? Let's do those. Yeah, Iron Man 165 coming in at 225, 169 at 185, and those two with Moon Knight at 161, only $101. I was surprised. I would think that would have been more. Long Shot number 2 is a $100 book. Marvel Premiere 53 jumps to $405. So that's the big difference there, where you're getting more of a solid mid-bronze book, and people are saying, basically, the market is saying that book is harder to get in a 9.8, so we're going to add some value there. So 405 on that one. Moon Knight 5 for 125 and Moon Knight 16 for 100. Again, that's why I buy those first series books, because even the single issues, those can certainly be 9.8s. Savage She-Hulk 7, I'm going to assume this one's going to jump as well because of the cover. 122, not as much as I thought. 347 in Thor. 370, I don't believe that to be true. That's crazy. That's a lot for that book. Uncanny X-Men 152. That's a $200 book and a 9.8. That's fair. I'm going to wait on 153. Web of Spider-Man 7, $100, and Wolverine 48.73, and Rising on that one. So I left a couple of off here, and I'll tell you why. So 153 I left off, and Detective 583. I assume that this is going to be something significant, so let's take a look and see what this Mike Mignola Batman Detective 583 goes for. 340. Not as much as Marvel Premiere, which actually surprised me. If you were asking me to guess, I probably would have guessed wrong on a lot of these. And then lastly, I saved X-Men 153 because we graded that one here together. And looking at that book, I gave it a 9.8. I did find a couple of spots on the back that I had to erase, just like, not really like a thumbprint, but just some area with some just really, really light dirt. I don't know if that was necessary, but I just did it anyway because I noticed it and I was very careful. I typically don't do that with books that I'm not going to press. If I'm going to press the book, I give it a little bit of a dry clean and then make sure that I've got all of my little eraser fragments off, and then I send it through the press. But this one, it just would have bothered me if it come back a 9.6 just because of those couple of tiny blemishes on the back of dirt. So that's completely clean. So that one is a 9.8, $136. It's not a shocking amount, but that's locked in as a 9.8. So let's look at the complete 9.8 range. And it's over $3,000 worth of comics in a 9.8. Again, disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to lead you to believe that you can get 9.8s from these online sellers. I'm just telling you what the ultimate end range is so that you can kind of see kind of the numbers that we're playing with. So what I'm going to do is turn these all back to 9.4, but then put the X-Men 153 as a 9.8. And then you can see here the total is roughly $240.60 worth of value that I'm adding to my collection if I were to get these books graded. So $25 for just the raw books and $240. Again, some of these might be a 9.2, some of these might be a 9.6. It's just estimates right now. I have to go through and grade, and then ultimately would have to get these back from CGC to determine whether or not those are the official grades. But I do believe in my grading skills, and I believe in the grades that I apply to the books. And that's a pretty nice order. A little bit of disappointment in the Detective 583. But like I said, all in on Kitty Pryde. So getting this book in a 9.8 without having to press it is amazing. I just love that. I got to add a handful of copies of Iron Man. Really, really cool. So I'll have to figure out what, especially this book here, what ultimately these books are going to grade out as. Again, just looking at it, I definitely see some spine ticks, but I might be able to work on that spine with a tack iron and see what I get. But love being able to add this book with the orange and yellow cover to my collection as well. So just, I love it. I love these books. I love this era. I'm going to continue to keep buying these. I'm going to continue to make videos of me unboxing them, going through them, showing you books that I'm targeting, why I'm targeting them. Very few of these are keys, and I like to do that too. I like to buy either minor keys or, dare I say, off keys. I think just your books that the community doesn't consider keys or off keys, but nonetheless, these are the books I target. And these are the types of issues that I buy, trying to add real value to the collection, and then helping me kind of identify which books I could potentially send off for grading to increase the value even further. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Happy collecting, and see you next time.